Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
Today we're tackling a topic that, well, let's be honest, it touches almost everyone's professional life at some point. Navigating challenging bosses.
hmm It's definitely common.
Yeah, and it's a huge source of stress, isn't it? Often feels like you're completely alone dealing with it.
Absolutely.
So, our mission for this deep dive is to pull out some practical, real-world strategies. We're drawing from our source material, Navigating Challenging Bosses, Strategies for Workplace Resilience.
Right.
We want to give you, our listeners, a shortcut to understanding not just what to do, but maybe why these approaches work. So you can, turn a tough situation into maybe even an opportunity for growth.
That's precisely it. Look, the goal isn't just to grit your teeth and endure a difficult boss. It's really about understanding the specific types of challenging leaders you might run into.
Okay.
And then applying strategic, proactive responses that can genuinely improve the dynamic, build your own personal resilience, and, importantly, help you maintain your professionalism even when things get tough.
Professionalism is key.
It really is. This deep dive is about gaining some agency back in those situations.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What kind of challenging bosses are we actually talking about here, and what does the source suggest we can learn?
Well, there are a few distinct archetypes.
First up, let's talk about the micromanager. You know the type, right? Constantly hovering, second-guessing every little thing,
Oh, yes.
demanding frequent updates on stuff you thought was well in hand. Does that sound familiar to anyone listening? I bet it does.
It's incredibly common. And the source material highlights that micromanagement often comes from the manager's own anxiety, maybe a perceived lack of control.
Ah, okay. So it's not always about you.
Not necessarily, no. So to counter this, two core strategies really emerge. First one is proactive communication.
Proactive? How so?
Well, imagine an employee, let's call her Priya. She started scheduling brief, regular check-ins with her manager. It's quick updates, but she did it before she was ever asked.
Ah, getting ahead of it.
Exactly. And it wasn't about creating more work. It was just shifting when the information was delivered. And what's often overlooked is how this small shift doesn't just build trust. It actually frees up the manager's mental energy.
Right. They stop worrying.
Precisely. They don't have to chase updates. And that, in turn, helps them see you as more competent, more independent, which reduces their perceived need to micromanage.
Makes sense. What's the second strategy?
The second one, often used together with the first, is setting boundaries.
Tricky one sometime.
It can be. But in Priya's case, the source says she respectfully explained her need for a bit more autonomy. Not like a demand, but by explaining how having more space would actually lead to better results, more innovation, better productivity.
So framing it as a benefit for them too.
Exactly. It turns it into a professional negotiation, not just a complaint or confrontation. Much more effective.
That's fascinating, sort of taking control of the narrative, influencing their comfort level without being aggressive. Okay, but what about leaders who try to control the narrative by, well, avoiding responsibility? Let's talk about the blamer.
Ah, yes, the blame.
This is a leader who just seems allergic to accountability, right? Always shifting blame onto the team, especially in meetings, never their fault.
We've all seen it. For the blamer, the strategies really emphasize foresight and redirecting the focus.
Foresight, like predicting the blame.
Sort of. One incredibly effective tactic mentioned is documenting contributions. Think of someone, maybe David, who started keeping a simple, detailed log.
Okay.
Just listing his specific contributions, decisions made on projects, dates, outcomes, that sort of thing.
So when the blame games start.
Exactly. When issues inevitably came up, this documentation allowed him to calmly, factually clarify his role. No defensiveness, no emotion, just here's what I did, here's the decision point. It's about facts, not feelings.
That takes discipline, but I can see how powerful that would be.
It really is.
Yeah.
And equally powerful was the second tactic, focusing on solutions.
Okay.
So instead of getting sucked into the finger pointing, David actively shifted the conversation. A problem comes up. He'd immediately pivot to, okay, given where we are, what are our next steps? How do we solve this?
Moving forward, not looking back.
Precisely. And this isn't just about being constructive, though it is.
Yeah.
It actually taps into a psychological thing where our brains kind of gravitate towards problem solving.
Right.
So by offering solutions, you're not just redirecting the negative energy, you're subtly shifting the whole emotional tone of the conversation. It becomes less about who did it and more about what do we do now?
Wow. So it's about reframing the problem itself, not just suggesting a fix. Shifting the whole focus. That's key. All right, moving on. We have the narcissist.
A challenging one.
Yeah, picture maybe a department head who constantly needs praise, needs recognition. They often just ignore team input, their ideas. Like their vision is the only one that matters.
Yeah, dealing with a narcissist requires a very um, nuanced approach. Direct confrontation usually backfires badly.
Right. So what does work?
The source talks about framing feedback as being critical. So, one employee learned to present their ideas, even innovative ones, not as their brilliant idea,
Uh-huh.
but as maybe enhancements to the boss's already excellent vision or ways to further amplify the success you've achieved.
Appealing to the ego.
Directly. It taps right into their need for affirmation and credit, makes your suggestions much more likely to actually be heard, let alone considered. It's like speaking their language.
Clever. A bit manipulative maybe, but clever.
It's strategic communication.
Yeah.
Another counterintuitive strategy mentioned was building rapport. This involves maybe some subtle public acknowledgement of the boss's actual achievements.
Okay, but genuine ones.
Oh, definitely. Needs to be appropriate and genuine. This isn't about empty flattery. It's about establishing a more positive connection. And surprisingly, this often created small openings for more real dialogue later, because the narcissist felt their status was acknowledged, secure. So they became slightly more receptive maybe to different viewpoints down the line.
Interesting. So understanding their driver helps you get your own ideas heard? Okay, now, here's one that I think causes a lot of quiet frustration. This is where it gets really tricky for people just trying to do their jobs. The inconsistent leader.
Right. The goalposts keep moving.
Exactly. The supervisor who frequently changes priorities, expectations shift week to week, maybe even day to day, leaves the whole team confused, frustrated, like building on quicksand.
Clarity is definitely the name of the game here. And often, it means you have to take the initiative to create it.
So what does the source suggest?
One really effective strategy was clarifying expectations proactively. Take someone like Sam in the example. After every team meeting where priorities were discussed,
Yeah.
he'd send out a brief summary email. Just bullet points, agreed upon decisions, next steps, who's doing what.
Creating a paper trail, almost.
Exactly. It creates a crucial written reference point, not just for the team, but importantly, it helps anchor those shifting expectations for the inconsistent leader themselves. Reduces ambiguity for everyone involved.
That's smart. Takes effort, but smart.
It does. And another tactic was seeking feedback regularly and directly.
How does that help with inconsistency?
Well, Sam would proactively ask his boss things like, does this approach still align with our current priorities? Or is there anything you foresee changing in the next few weeks that I should factor in?
Putting the onus on them to clarify.
In a polite way, yes. It encourages the boss to provide clearer, more consistent guidance. And it really helped reduce that unpredictability that was causing so much team frustration.
Those are great ways to bring some order to the chaos when the rules keep changing on you. Okay, finally, we come to maybe the most challenging archetype, the bully.
Yes, this one is serious.
This is the manager who uses intimidation, maybe belittles employees publicly, creates a genuinely toxic work environment. It can be incredibly damaging.
Absolutely. And for the bully, the strategies really shift. It's less about subtle influence and more about self-protection and potentially escalation.
Right. So what's step one?
The first absolutely vital step is documenting incidents meticulously.
We heard about documentation with the blamer, but this sounds even more critical.
It is. An employee, let's call her Maria, started documenting every single instance. Dates, times, specific comments, who else was present, the impact it had.
Wow.
And this isn't just for your own memory. It creates a solid, objective record. And that record is absolutely essential if you decide you need to escalate the issue to HR or higher management. It turns subjective feelings into concrete evidence.
That makes sense. Evidence is crucial there. What else?
The second strategy mentioned was finding allies. Maria saw support from colleagues who were getting similar treatment.
Strength in numbers.
Exactly. And this isn't about office gossip. It's about identifying a shared, serious problem. Forming a kind of united front can be incredibly powerful.
How so?
Well, partly for emotional support, which is huge when dealing with a bully. The toll is immense. But also, a collective complaint to HR often carries much more weight, more urgency than just one person speaking up.
Right. It shows a pattern.
Precisely.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this strategy really underscores the power of collective action and support. Shows you don't have to face these really difficult situations entirely alone. Allies provide crucial resilience.
The strategies for the bully are really powerful and, frankly, a bit sobering to think about. It just highlights how much courage is sometimes needed at work.
It really does.
So, okay, we've covered a lot. Micromanagers, blamers, narcissists, inconsistent leaders, and bullies. What does this all mean for you, the listener? What are the common threads here, the big takeaways from the source material across all these different difficult scenarios?
Yeah, when you look across all these cases from the source, a few overarching lessons really stand out clearly.
Okay.
First, there's the consistent importance of communication, but not just any communication, proactive and strategic communication.
Right, like the check-ins, the summary emails.
Exactly. Giving updates before asked, clarifying expectations in writing, or carefully framing feedback so it can actually be heard. It's about controlling the flow and the framing of information.
Makes sense. What's number two?
Second, the undeniable power of documentation. We
Right.
saw it with the blamer, and even more critically with the bully. Logging your contributions, detailing specific incidents. Documentation is just a critical tool for clarity, for protecting your own professional standing, and sometimes, unfortunately, for building a case if needed. It empowers you with facts.
Facts over feelings, as you said earlier.
Right. And finally, the third thread is the absolute necessity of maintaining professionalism. Even when faced with really difficult, sometimes outrageous behavior.
That must be hard.
It is incredibly hard. But this isn't about being passive or a doormat. It's about demonstrating control over your own reactions, maintaining your integrity. And crucially, it helps you control the narrative around your performance and your conduct.
So you don't get dragged down.
Exactly. And while it's challenging, the source emphasizes that employing these kinds of strategic approaches can lead to improved situations. And definitely enhances your personal resilience, which raises an important question, really.
Yeah.
In any professional environment, what kind of resilience are you actively building for yourself day by day?
That's such a powerful takeaway. It really frames it as building a robust approach to your whole career, not just reacting to specific problems. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into navigating challenging bosses. We've really uncovered some incredibly practical strategies here from the source material, things that can truly make a difference in your professional life.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Beyond just managing these specific difficult bosses, how can these strategies, this focus on proactive communication, meticulous documentation, unwavering professionalism, how can they inform your overall approach?
Your approach to what?
To career resilience, maybe even to leadership yourself,
Right.
even when things are going well. Perhaps these aren't just survival tactics for bad situations. Maybe they're actually fundamental pillars for long-term success and effective work, period.
That's a great point. Are they defense mechanisms or are they just good practice all around? Okay, definitely something to reflect on. Take a moment to think about the specific boss types and strategies that resonated most with you and how you might apply them in your own professional life.
Good idea.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive.